Did you ever wonder what Goldilocks has to do with marketing? I didn't either until very recently. Today I want to talk about doing just the right amount of marketing. Welcome to episode 32 of the Cheeky Sales Coach. Now let's talk about 6 or 7 things that have to do with getting just the right amount of marketing. Thing number 1 is you need to think about Goldilocks. Remember, there was, too much, too little, just right. That's the way you should think about your marketing. You can have too much marketing, believe it or not. If people say, I want to stop seeing your stuff is everywhere, you're boring me to tears, or worse yet, they don't say anything, but they completely ignore your marketing because it's everywhere all the time and they know they're not interested. That's too much marketing. I'm reminded from time to time to take a lesson from the world of advertising. I have somebody that I strategize with and we get our ads just right. And every once in a while, I look at something and I said, that strategy worked. Now let's go spend a whole bunch of money and repeat that. And my consultant tells me, well, remember, we think that we're reaching the entire audience. We're giving them the opportunity. Spending more money will not necessarily get you better results. Sometimes you have to do exactly what you're doing and not do more. So the question is, how do you figure out what's the right amount of marketing to do? The second thing you have to do is you have to make sure that you have a place of your own. In other words, you have to have some place that you're going to send people and always send people, and that even if somebody grabs some old marketing material, they're going to be able to go to that location. One example for me is I have a site called Great Little Seminar. And even if I rebrand this site, it won't matter because I'll still use that URL to redirect to the new material. Here's what I mean about having a place of your own. You should not build your primary landing page on Patreon or Facebook or LinkedIn or any other site that you don't control. Now, blogs are a different story. You can have your blog at Wix or Blogger or wherever because you totally control that space. Having your blog on your website, even if that's hosted at a major brand name provider, is totally fine because you control that space. What I mean about having a home of your own is that you don't want to build your primary landing page someplace where somebody can change one policy and you are out. Which is why I always give the example of Facebook. Many people build these pages on Facebook where they try to build communities, which is great. I'm all about community. But the problem is that with one little policy change, Facebook could make them lose half their audience. Just be careful what your main landing page is and make sure everything gets funneled to that. Number 3, map it out like a funnel. Imagine that you're going to do marketing and you say, here's the campaign where we've got a video. The video points to, let's say, your blog. Your blog then points to your primary landing page, perhaps a sales page, perhaps something in your sales funnel. And then you post up a good, strong article on your blog, and it points to your primary page. Then you post up an article on LinkedIn, and it points to your blog, which points people to your main page. Then you post up something on Facebook, and it points to your blog, which then points to your main page. You see, it doesn't have to be that exact example, but the point is you need to make sure that you have one place where you can send all of your stuff. So don't do too little by not building a home of your own. I really love that analogy. Don't build a house on rented land, which is what Facebook and LinkedIn and those other places are. I also think number 4, you need to make sure that you maintain your property. What does that mean? Well, from time to time, you need to tune up your primary landing page. From time to time, you need to refresh it. Not because it's broken, not because you want to waste some money, but it should look fresh and it should look new. Remember, all of this has to be done in the context of everything that we've talked about previously in this video series. Your most important asset is your list. So your primary landing page should get people to sign up for your newsletter. It should get them to sign up for your mailing list. Whatever offer you have should be clear and obvious, and the call to action should not be hard to find. And that needs to change from time to time. Having the same thing that works but never changes ever, 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 it becomes old. Whether you like it or not, we live in a world where people consider something to be old or seen. They mentally mark it off as seen it, done it, if it's the same as it was before. So you have to constantly be changing it. One of the things I learned after doing a year-long series of seminars is that I had to have different marketing campaigns every 3 months, because even though people couldn't possibly have attended a seminar in their area the first 3, 6, 9 months, they had marked it off as old news by the time the seminar came around. So it became harder and harder to get people to sign up for the same thing, even though they wanted to and they liked it and they were interested early on, but they didn't buy early on, and so they needed another campaign to get them to think of it as something new in their brains. Number 5, you have to document all of this. Here's what that looks like. It can be as very, very simple as just writing out on a piece of paper that this is your primary site and that it is fed from your newsletter, your blog, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, various pages here and there, other properties that you own, maybe even advertising, newsletters, postal campaigns, whatever. Document out how people get to your primary site, and also document the campaigns that you run. What did you do in May of last year? What did you do last December? What did you do in February? If you can't recall those things, then you really need to write them down so you can document not only what you did, but what worked. My friend Richard Tubb likes to say, the human brain is a horrible place to store information. I like that because it's true. You need to document these things, write them down so that you can refer to them. One of the ways that we get better at anything is that we fine-tune, fine-tune, fine-tune. When we repeat something, we don't just do it exactly the same, unless it was super successful. We change it a little bit, we update the graphics, we make it look fresh and new. So don't do too little by not documenting what you do. Finally, number 6. You need to coordinate the efforts of all of the things you do. What you do on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn should complement and work with what you're doing on your blog. What you're doing in your newsletter and what you're doing on your blog should complement what you're doing on your primary site. All of these things should work together, orchestrated in such a way that they get the job done. Here's the big lesson for today. Don't do too little. When I say do just the right amount, most people are worried that they're not doing enough, and they're correct. Very few people are doing too much. Lots and lots of people are not doing enough. One of the weaknesses of marketing is that we want to pay somebody a bunch of money, check the box that marketing is done, and then not measure it, not measure the results, not follow up, not hold anybody accountable. And then when we get no results, we want to spend money, send it off, have somebody else do a bunch of work, and rinse, repeat, not hold anybody accountable or coordinated in any way. Part of the reason you need to document what you're doing is so that you can repeat the things that are successful, fine-tune the things that are less successful, and know what works. That way you can constantly be getting better and better and better, more focused and tuned in, and then someday, when you think you might be doing too much, you can talk about the borders of what is too much, and in the meantime, remember that you're probably doing too little. For the Cheeky Sales Coach, this is Karl Palachuk, wishing you the best of luck in everything you do. Call to action. Like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you won't miss a thing.